LDOHDYT, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today guys, let me show you how you can create your very own supply drops in Fortnite Creative. So as you see, we have a supply drop right here. We have a beacon to show where it is, and there's also a sound effect that happens. There we go guys, as you can see, baller drops from the sky representing a supply drop, and then once we go up to it, as you can see, we have the option to open the supply drop. And then once you press the button, boom, it blows up, and there we go. We have all of the items that are in the supply drop. And the supply drop is customizable. You can put any item you want in there, or you can have a random. Yeah, it's pretty sick. As you see, there's other supply drops around here, and you can also see them drop if you want to as well. Anyway guys, let's get right into this tutorial. Alright guys, so this tutorial is going to be a little bit hard and confusing, so if you have any questions along the way, just leave them in the comment section below. Anyway, let's begin with the tutorial. So I have these things mapped out just to make it a little bit more understandable for you guys. So basically, when channel 1 is transmitted on, it's going to initiate the supply drop. So basically, this includes the beacon showing up, the actual baller falling from the sky. Channel 2 is when the supply drop lands. So when the baller has hit the ground, it's going to transmit on channel 2, and then that's when we can add the function to open it and all sorts of stuff like that. Channel 3, when you open the supply drops. When you press the button to open the supply drop, this is when the loot falls out, as well as the beacon disappearing and all that sort of stuff. So that's what all these channels are used for. Anyway, first thing you want to do, find where you want the supply drop to land. So we're just going to put it right here. So we're going to fly straight upwards until we hit the height limit. There we go guys, as you can see, we have hit the height limit. So now once you are here, go to your inventory, go to galleries, and search indestructible. This gallery should pop up, and basically what you want to do is you want to get some sort of indestructible wall, floor, a ramp, a bush, as well as a hover platform. This is all you should need from here. So now put the hover platform about 2 blocks below the height limit, just like that, and now go to your indestructible floors and basically just copy what I do with the indestructible buildings. Alright guys, so this is what you want to build. So basically now, once you have built this, you want to go to your inventory. Go to devices and select the baller. Place a baller right here. Go into the settings of the baller. Make sure that it disables on channel 3. And if you remember from down through the signs, channel 3 is when the supply drop opens. So basically when you open the supply drop, this is going to disable, and when you disable this, it also makes the baller explode and then never respawn. So that's why we have to do that. So basically what this is for is to keep the baller from going straight out that way, and what the baller will do is just go straight down as it hits this. So now we need a way for the baller to update and go down that way. So basically what we need to do is we need to get ourselves a pinball bumper. So we're going to take the pinball bumper and we're going to put it like this. So we're going to have to use a higher grid snap for this. It's 8. Let's try that. So now what you want to do is you want to go to the settings of the pinball bumper, and you want to make sure that it is disabled on game start. So press no here. Basically you want to enable it when the supply drop is dropping. So that is channel 1. Now what you want to do that is you want to find where the supply drop is going to land. So we're going to take our builds out. Make sure that it doesn't move on the grid. It's going to go straight down. There we go. So this is where our supply drop is about to land. It'll land right about here, according to that. So now we're going to break this because we don't want it here. Now what we need to do is we need to make it so that it transmits on channel 2 when the supply drop lands. So to do this, go to your inventory and get yourself a trigger device. I'm just going to place this here for reference, but basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that the trigger is the same size as this block here. So we're going to resize the depth and width of it. It doesn't have to look pretty or anything because it'll be invisible during the game. We're going to place this right here, just like that. We're going to go into the settings of the trigger, make sure that it cannot be triggered by a player. That's very important. Make sure it can only be triggered by vehicles, so turn this off as well. You can have the trigger sound if you want to as a sound to be like when the supply drop lands, just kind of like real supply drops, or you can disable it. I'm just going to keep it enabled. We're going to make sure that it is not visible during the game, so make sure you turn this off because that's very important. Trigger transmit on channel 2. So if you look over here, as you see, channel 2 is when the supply drop lands. So basically, when the baller hits this, it's going to transmit on channel 2. So that's how that works. So now we're going to delete this brick piece right here because it will interfere with this. There we go. What we want to do is we're going to make it so we can actually open the supply drop. So to do this, we're going to get ourselves a button, place this down, go to the settings of the button, change it so that it can only be triggered once. Turn off enabled on game start. Change the interaction text to open or whatever you want. I'm going to do open supply drop. Make sure it's not visible during the game. And basically what you want to do is you want to enable it when the supply drop has landed. So that's going to be on channel 2. You see supply drop lands on channel 2. So this will show when it has landed. Also now you want to make it so when it is interacted with, it's going to transmit on 3. And that's when you open the supply drop. And we also want it to disable itself on channel 3 so it can't be used anymore. There we go. One last thing you need to do is change the interaction radius to 2 meters or around there. Basically what this will do is when the baller is inside this radius right here, instead of it showing drive, it's going to show whatever we put in the text. So it's going to be showing open supply drop. So that's basically how that works. Now we're going to move this to where the supply drop is going to land. So that's pretty good. Now we need a way for the loot to actually show up. So obviously you can't put loot inside ballers. So what you need to do is you need to go to your chest and ammo gallery, or you can create your own custom chest, whichever one you want to do. I'm going to be using this. It's closest resembling to the actual supply drop on the loot. So we're just going to place this here for now. Now what you want to do is you want to get yourself an explosive device. So place this right here for now. You want to make sure it does not do any player damage. Turn that to 0. Turn the blast radius to 0.25, structure damage to 500, or however much health the chest has. You could just do it to it destroys anything if you want to. Make sure there's no knockback. Do not have it play audio or VFX. Do not have it visible during the game. And turn off the health bar. And basically you want this to explode when the supply drop opens. As you see right here, channel 3 opens supply drop. So we're going to have it so when it exploded, or no, explode when receiving from channel 3. So when we press the button, this is going to explode, breaking the chest and causing the loot to fall out. So basically now what we need to do is put the chest on top of the explosive like that. Select both of them and you want to put it right beneath the ground where the baller is going to drop. You don't want it visible though, so just make sure it's right beneath it. If it's not close enough to the ground, it may not work and the loot might not show up. So that should be pretty good. Unfortunately, there's no way to get rid of that sound at the moment, so we'll just have to deal with the sound. So basically, now what you want to do is you want to make an indicator showing where the supply drop is going to land. So basically what you want to do is go to your gallery section, and you want to search up beacons. Here's the beacon gallery. We're going to select the red one for this video, place it right here, and basically go to the settings of this. Under enable during phase, set it to none. When it's enable on channel 1, so that's when the supply drop initiates. So basically when the supply drop is dropping, it's going to have the beacon show up. So I'm editing this video right now, so one thing I forgot to mention is you want to set disable when receiving from to 3. This will allow the beacon to turn off after you have opened the supply drop. Now we're going to do basically the same exact thing with the map indicator. Now this isn't completely necessary, but it does just add more effect, more realisticness to the supply drop. And basically instead of a beacon, this is just what shows up on the map. So it's basically the same exact thing, it's just in a different area. So we're gonna go to the settings of this. We're gonna have no icon and we're just gonna label it supply drop. You can also put if you copy and paste some like icons from Google, you can sometimes get those to show up. And you want this to enable on channel 1 just like before, and also disable it on game start. So again, the same thing I forgot. Make sure you change disable when receiving from to channel 3. And now we're going to multi-select both of these, and we're going to put it right where the supply drop is going to land. Just like that. Now what we need to do is make sure that if someone decides to hit the supply drop like that it just breaks automatically. That way the option to open it's not here and the supply drop's over there. So basically to do this, we need to go under the ground. Grab yourself a hover platform again. About 2 blocks under the ground, you want to place the hover platform. Place some floors down like this, like a little plus sign. Basically, go to your devices panel, grab yourself a damage volume and a mutator zone. Put the mutator zone in the middle and damage zones all around the edges. In each of the damage zones, you're going to have to actually measure this for this one, but the height is going to be around 60 or 70. I'll show you what I mean by this. So you want to make sure that the damage volume does not surpass where this is. So as you see, it does, so we're gonna have to lower it to around 60, because if you have the damage volumes interfere with this, it's not gonna work correctly. So make sure that it's not too high. We're gonna make sure that this is set to 50 instead, and this will depend on what island you're using, so make sure you just measure it and make sure that you get it right. Now if you scroll down, you want to make sure that it does not affect creatures or players, and it only affects vehicles and unmanned vehicles. So you need to do this for each of the barriers. They should be identical. Alright, we've set all the damage barriers to do exactly that. Now what you want to do is go to the mutator zone, change the width to 4, as well as the depth to 4, change the height to 100. Make it so you can use weapon fire, unless you don't want people to weapon fire near the supply drop, but you want to disable buildings so that way people can't interfere with the supply drop dropping. There we go, that should be everything for down here. And so now basically what we want to do is if someone knocks the supply drop into the death barrier, we want the supply drop to just drop, because we don't want it just to disappear. We want it to actually drop. So to do this, we have to go all the way back up here. So basically when you knock it into the damage barrier, it's going to respawn. So we're gonna have a sensor here, so if it respawns, it knows that, and it will automatically open the supply drop down there, so that way you can open it either way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab ourselves a trigger device thing right here, go in the settings of this, change the transmit every X triggers to 2. Basically when triggered, transmit on 3, because channel 3 is the channel where the supply drop opens. So I'm going to rotate this so that way the baller goes right over it, but you also don't want it to interfere with it, so make sure it's not interfering with the baller's path, but you also want the baller to activate it. So basically now the last thing we're going to do, I believe, is going to add a sound effect so that when the supply drop is dropping, we also hear a sound. It's going to put a speaker down, and then you can choose whatever audio you want to, it doesn't matter. We're just going to use the bump, make the volume very loud, and the sound distance to whole island. Change it so it activates on channel 1, because on channel 1 is when the supply drop is starting to drop. That's when you want the sound to be initiated. The last thing we need to do is make it something trigger the supply drop to happen, so it's not going to just automatically go. So what we need to do is we need to get the explosive device. You can use any sort of device. So for example, you could use the storm device. So on a certain storm phase, you could have the supply drop, but for this video we're just going to be using the explosive device. We're not going to be using this for any explosions, so we're going to turn off player damage as well as the blast radius, turn off structure damage. You want to make sure it doesn't have any effect to the game. Turn knockback off, and turn off play audio VFX and make it invisible. Basically all we're be using this for is a countdown from game start. So if we look right here, time to detonation from game start, we can specify a time, how long it takes before the supply drop starts to drop. So we're gonna just do 15 seconds for this video, and basically what we want to do is set it so when it explodes, it initiates the supply drop, which is channel 1. So I believe we have done everything. We're gonna start the game to see if everything's working correctly, and if there's any issues, we'll fix it. Looks like there's some sort of mistake because the chest just opened. Alright guys, so the reason that it was opening early for some reason was because it was going off course, and so instead of going straight down, it was actually hitting the death barrier and just causing it to open early. So basically what I've done is I've adjusted the bushes a little bit, as well as the pinball bumpers, so that the way it does not go off course. You may have to mess around with this to make it go straight down. Alright guys, so I have now completed a fully functioning supply drop in Fortnite Creative. As you can see, it should work. Now you can make this lower so it's less visible because it is peering through the ground a little bit. You have to adjust that a little bit to make it not visible. But after 15 seconds, the supply drop should spawn in. There we go. Boom, and you see the baller is dropping. See, we have no option to open supply drop yet until the baller actually hits the ground. There we go. This could be aligned a little bit better, obviously, but once we press E, see it opens, and there we go. We have working supply drop in Fortnite Creative. This was a very stressful tutorial. Actually, I recorded it 3 times, and each time it took 30 minutes to record. So if you guys did find this helpful, helpful, please drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Anyway, also guys, if this did help you, please use my supporter credit code LDOHDYT in the item shop. This does help me out a lot, and I put a lot of effort into this, so that'd be very appreciated. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.